Oh, I gotta go on. With it. Oh, I have a massive ego. That gave it away a little bit, the title, but before, story, right? Who's got a jumper on? Yeah, you guys. So, it came to my attention literally today that not everybody knows what the word verto means. It's not a word we just kind of pulled out of air. So what verto means is it's Latin for transform or change. How I know, right? It genuinely took like 3 months to come up with a good name. That's another story. But what it means is Latin for transform or change. Ordere di verto means dare to change. That's what you guys have done. This is why I'm very proud of you. This is the meaning of the jumper that you guys are going to put on. A lot of people on the team. There's like almost 400 people on the program, on the team, and you guys are the ones that dared. You didn't do your best, because I heard that a lot. I'll do my best to come to the event. No, you dared. You did what was required. You didn't do your best. You did what was required. So that's what the jumper means as well. And the shirts for you guys. So I like it very much. Now, when we planned the event and we sat down, I asked myself, what is the one thing that you won't go anywhere else? No other fitness coach on the planet. What is the one thing that I can teach you guys that literally no other coach on the planet, no other program ever would? And the only thing, when I thought through that lens, that came into my mind was how to teach you guys to coach yourselves. How to not need us anymore, right? So that is what we're kind of going to be going through. What we're going to be going through in this one, we're going to be stripping back the layers and literally teaching you what we do as your coaches, how to troubleshoot plateaus and how to get you guys and get to the six-pack. We overviewed the roadmap of how to get to that six-pack just before, but along the way you're going to hit a plateau. And this is the exact framework that we use as coaches to overcome that plateau. That is our mission. We spoke about it briefly before, but that's what the whole point of us existing, the whole point of the program existing, yes, is to get you a six-pack. Now, there's not a lot of great coaches on the planet, but there are some good ones. And there's a few people in the world that can teach you how to get a six-pack, but our mission is to get you to a point where you can keep it for the rest of your life and you don't need us anymore. Sarah, so when Sarah was with us, she lost 25 kilograms, and then it was a very bittersweet day. It was funny, because she left. She was like, I want to finish up. I'm saving up for a house. I want to finish up, because I feel like that I've known. She graduated phase 4. She felt like she learned everything there was to teach. Sad, but also yay, that's really good. That's the whole point. It was weird. Mixed emotions. Anyway, so she lost 25 kilograms on the program, and then 6 months later, she sent us this message, which is this is our whole point of existing. So she said, it's been a little bit, I've been traveling, but I thought to know that I've continued to lose weight and now I've started to see abs. That at the end of the day is our mission. That's the whole point of us being here. And how can I teach you that? Now, it's very hard to teach you 10 years worth of knowledge, experience, and exercise science, but I'm going to do my best. But I want to teach you the exact, when a plateau happens, what do we do about it? What are the mindset that us as coaches, what do we go through when we do your deep dives and go through your program? What changes do we make? This is what we're going to cover today. All right, so that's the main outcome. It's teach you how to become your own coach. This is going to be the most anticlimactic part of the presentation, but it gets better, I promise. So there is a three kind of step process, 3 things we do to fix all plateaus. When you are losing fat and then you just reach a point where you just can't anymore, it's what do I do? There's 3 things that we look at. Number 1, training. Whoa. Rev, you guys running now? Nutrition. Yeah. And your steps. So, a little bit boring, but I'm going to go into it in detail in a second, but I'll lay the framework for you guys really quickly. These 3 things, like Chloe mentioned before, are going to do 90% of the actual fat loss itself. When we talk about when we talk about the advanced stuff like nutrient timings, these kind of stuff, that's the 5-10%. That's really cool when we get to a certain point. But in terms of getting the six-pack, in terms of getting really lean, these 3 things is what's going to do 90-95% of it. All right. All of the cool strategies and all that kind of stuff that we add in is just going to help and make it easier and more efficient. But at the end of the day, what really drives all of your progress is going to come down to these 3 things. I'm good at simplifying things, and it's going to be very simple by the time we finish it. What we need to do is we need to go through this checklist and find the constraint. All right. The reason, at the end of the day, it's going to sound very simple. By the very nature of fat loss is just like a maths equation. You need to be in a deficit. What that means is that you need to eat less than your body is expending throughout the day, right? If you are not losing weight, it means by definition, we're just not in a deficit. Has anyone seen like those videos where they're like, it's not calories in, calories out, like that, you can be in a deficit and not lose weight? That's not how a deficit works. The very nature of a deficit, the defining characteristic of a deficit is that we're losing weight. You know, it's complicated, but we want to simplify it. So what we need to do is find the constraint. And then we go through this cycle, we go through these three things, and we go a layer deeper every single time. And then we get deeper and deeper and deeper until we find what is the constraint. First things first, we'll start at the top. It's just like, are you hitting your training sessions? If you've got 5 training sessions scheduled and you're only doing 2, it's like, are you surprised that like the scale's not going down? Like first step is like, first layer, are we hitting all our training sessions? Are we giving your body, are we burning a ton of calories? Are we giving your body a reason to grow some new muscle? If we are, great, move on to the next one. If we're not, let's fix that and see how we go. Weight will probably come off. Now, does your calendar look like that? But like, are there these missed workouts? Like, are there these empty boxes? If it's like this, if it's like that first week, we can't expect to lose weight. Anyway, so the next one is nutrition. It's like, are we hitting our calories? Whatever form that might look like. Are we making sure that we're trying to be in a deficit? Are we actually hitting our calories, right? Same thing, notice there's no little nutrition circles. Are we not tracking at all, right? So that's the next step. This is the layer, like, I know almost all of you guys are doing it, but bear with me. It gets more detailed, I promise. But it's like, are we hitting our nutrition? If it's yes, like great, move on to the next step. If not, then it's like, let's do that first and let's test. Does the weight drop off? Anyway, next one, are we hitting somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 steps? If we're hitting our training sessions and we're eating pretty good in a deficit, but like you check your steps and you're doing 1,000 steps a day, chances are that we're just not in a deficit. We're not burning enough calories to be in a deficit and to lose a ton of like weight. Best way to do that is steps. The reason steps are so important is because your body doesn't adapt to it. Who likes doing like conditioning sessions, HIIT training sessions, going for a run, sprint, that kind of stuff? Hybrid athletes, am I right? What happens with this? One of the downsides in it, you burn a lot of calories in a really short period of time, which is really cool. But your body has a funny little way of making your life miserable. If you burn a lot of calories in a short period of time, the rest of the day, it's going to try to make you burn a little bit less calories. Steps are a way to guarantee that that doesn't happen. So we need to make sure that our steps are at a certain number. Do conditioning sessions, all right? Just make sure that we're hitting at least between this. Back to the checklist. Are we hitting between 5,000 and 8,000 steps? No? Well, then do that. If it's yes, now we go to layer 2. This is layer 1. This is the first layer. This is the checklist. Actually, I should have put checkboxes next to them. Think of it like a checklist. Whenever you hit a plateau and the weight's not moving, go through this list and start like checking. You don't need to write each of these down. I've been really nice. Go through this checklist. Tick, tick, tick. If we've ticked all 3 boxes, now we go a little bit deeper into the rabbit hole. Let's get a little bit deeper into it. If your steps look like this, let's do a little bit more. And I guarantee the weight will drop. All right, so we've gone through that. Now we need to go into layer 2. We've ticked those 3 boxes and weight still isn't moving. Now it's time to get a little bit deeper to try to find the constraint. Right? So am I hitting the upper limits of my rep range? Like, am I lifting heavy? Am I going like, okay, my reps are 5 to 8. Am I doing this on this side? 5 to 8, what's a nice number that I like between those? I'll just hit 6 because I like the number 6. That's not how rep ranges work. Am I like really driving? Or other thing, it's like I've hit 8 reps, but I don't increase the weight. Like, am I driving that result in my training session? Am I forcing progression in my training session? If that's yes, great, move on to the next one. If not, like we said, fix it, try it out for a week, see if the scale moves. So what I mean by is like this. So goal is 5 to 8 reps, and we hit 8 reps of 149. And then the next set, we don't increase the weight and we go again and hit another 8 reps. We're not giving your body a reason to adapt. So let's start doing this and let's test it out. Usually this extra one, forcing your body to grow muscle, the energy required to grow muscle, you're gonna like burn a lot of calories. The actual new muscle that you grow will burn more calories just to exist. So we fix your training and you end up burning a lot of calories and losing more fat. Let's do that. But let's say you are doing that because all of you in here are weapons. Then we make sure like, okay, let's go a bit deeper and let's track the actual ingredients that we're using to make sure that we're actually in a deficit. Even though we're tracking 1,700 calories, are we actually eating it? Whether it's on the app or on MyFitnessPal or something like that, if you just go like spaghetti bolognese, I'm tracking spaghetti bolognese and you tick one of it, it might come up as 5-10 calories. But when you put in all of the ingredients that you actually use from like the Woolworths next to your house and you put those calories in, look at that. Now it all of a sudden comes out to 700. That's an extra 200 calories that appeared out of thin air. So if we're doing that with every single meal and it's like, why isn't the fat coming off? Like, why am I not losing weight? I'm only eating 1,700 calories. We might actually be eating 2,500 and we're not in a deficit at all. That's why we want to be tracking the individual ingredients. For a short time, we're going to teach you how to not track those anymore, how to use intuitive eating. This comes first. We need to build that skill. Let's track your calories for a week. Let's track the individual ingredients for the week and hit your target, let's say 1,700, and let's see. Let's see if it moves. Weight starts moving, life's good. If it doesn't, okay, let's move on to the next one. Do more steps. The more steps you do, the more calories you burn, the more fat you lose. Life's good. Now, we say 10,000 steps. That's just it's just a nice round number. It looks good, it's pretty. It makes sure that we're burning enough calories and it's consistent every single day. That's the way we can guarantee that we're gonna get the fat off. When it comes down to losing fat, there's two things that kind of need to happen. We need to either eat less or move more to create that deficit, kind of. We'll get to that at the end. Anyway, let's do more steps and let's see what happens. If you're doing 10K steps already and the weight still isn't moving, let's move on to the next one. Let's tick that box. By the very nature of not losing fat, you're just not in a deficit. So when we go back, if you've done all of these things, if we've ticked all of these boxes, this is kind of like troubleshooting, like if what we are doing is correct, if we're doing everything we can, if what we say we're doing is actually working. If we're ticking all of these boxes and the weight still isn't coming down, one of two things need to happen, all right? Either, and this is what we like to do first, but either it's we need to burn more calories or we need to eat less. We always want to burn more calories first. Who likes eating less? Exactly, all right? Neither does your training. Your training doesn't like it when you eat less. No one, your partner doesn't like it when you eat less. Like, no one wins. You're hungry, so we always want to try to move more first. What does that look like? Am I truly training in proximity to failure? Maybe our rep ranges are good and we're playing with it, but are we actually forcing progression? Are we actually training hard? And I think I've got a video actually. Aha, excellent. This is what I mean. So hopefully this plays on repeat. But have a look at the first rep. I just pick it up. It goes up in like a second. So first rep, like 1.5 to get it all the way up. Look at the last rep. This is about 1 rep in reserve. 4, 5, almost 6 seconds of grind. And like, look at my face. I'm very, very upset. Like that's what we mean by, are we actually training in proximity to failure? Is that last rep a grind? I am pulling as hard as I can. And it's still taking 6 seconds to get that weight up. That's the face I make. Like am I like pushing as hard as I can and it still takes that long to get the weight up? Okay, good chance that I'm actually training at 1 rep in reserve, in proximity to failure. Am I doing this? Here's the thing with your training, it feels like that, but what you need to do is record yourself doing it, because it's like when you do a plank and you're like, oh, I've done this is like 3 minutes. And then you check the clock and it's like 20 seconds. Same thing in these reps. That felt like 3 minutes to get that weight up. I thought I was gonna die, like have a brain hemorrhage, but it ended up only being like 5 seconds. If you wanna put them side by side or just count and then skip to the last one and count, this is what should look like at the end of the, at the end of your set, on the last rep of your set. Am I doing that? Am I really forcing muscle growth? If no, do it, you know? And if you are, great. We come to a crossroads where we either need to move more or we need to eat less. And eventually, we might get to a point when it's time to eat less. So let's take what you're eating right now, let's drop it by 200, maybe 300 max, and let's test that out for a week or two. And let's see if the weight comes down. It's an unfortunate thing, and there's like a lot of cool shit we can do before we get to this point, so we don't have to just eat less. Eventually, we're gonna have to eat less. That's the nature of being in a deficit. It's like, move more, eat less. By the very nature, if we're not losing weight, we're not in a deficit, so we need to eventually be in a point where we eat less. The next one, and the last step, is do as many steps as you can. Number doesn't really matter, because here's the thing. If you do 15K steps, great. It's very hard to hit a plateau at all. We've all got jobs and like a life. So sometimes hitting 15,000 steps isn't exactly what we can. We can't do that. So hit as many steps as you can physically fathom and you're physically capable and you can fit into your calendar a day. Again, short period of time. This is, we're talking about if we go back to the last presentation, the fat loss roadmap, this is just to get the abs. Once we've got the abs, life's good. We're at maintenance, we're growing muscle, we're having scones with jam before we train. Life is so good. You got abs too, which is really cool. But while we're getting there, you know, for a short period of time, it's like, can I sneak in a quick 20-minute walk after dinner, which is great for digestion, by the way. So can you sneak it in? Can you get somewhere some extra steps in? Let's do it. It's a short period of time. Let's do it. And then test that out for a week. If you've done all that and the weight still isn't dropping, we've reached a point, like a little fork in the road. Not even a fork, a roadblock. There's only so far that we can move. There's only so much time in a day that we can physically allocate to walking and doing steps. And then there's only so much time in a day that we can allocate, or like, there's only so low we can drop your calories. I don't think I have ever given someone 1,200 calories before. Nor kind of should you, but a lot of you have eaten 1,200 calories before. You get to a point where it's like, we can't go lower or else your body's just dying slowly. We don't want to go lower. Life's not good when you go lower. We get to a point where it comes to a point where we just can't move any lower. We can't move any more. We can't eat any less. So there's only one thing. There's only one solution. And some of you already know the answer. Maintenance phase. Woo! Eat a lot more, which is hilarious when we first like pick you. Oh my God. I had to fight her to put her on maintenance. A lot of you are like, you come in and we're like, okay, first thing we need to do is you need to eat 2,200 calories. And they're like, no. Because it's such a foreign concept of like, if you want to lose more fat, you need to eat more. But it is the only way out from here. Who's done this before? You've dropped your calories. Let's say you eat 1,200. For some reason, ungodly. And you lose weight at the start, life's good. And then you stop losing weight. And then you just keep going for the next 6 months, eating 1,200 calories. What happens? Nothing at all. It still doesn't go down. The scale still doesn't move. There's literally only one way out of this kind of hole that we've dug, and that's the little maintenance phase. And that's to come back up. Look at this. That's before maintenance phase, and then this is after maintenance phase. We're happy. But how do you do it? Like we said, I want to give you the exact roadmap, the step-by-step of like exactly how to do it yourself and to be able to do it yourself. Not that you should, but you can. So how do we do a maintenance phase? Really simple. First, we increase your calories up to maintenance. Surprise. That's how that works. If you don't know what your maintenance is, like let's say you guys should all be taking notes of where we put your maintenance and how far we can bring up your maintenance. But let's say for like the plus ones in the room who aren't on the team, if you don't know your maintenance, where we want to start is with a calculator. Put in like the Harris-Benedict equation, just type in like calorie calculator on the internet. Get a base range. It's not very good because, like it says Kara's is 1,500, it says Chloe is 1,600 when they're both eating 3,000. So, but it's at least a good place to start. And then what you want to do, if you don't know where your maintenance is, caveat, slowly increase your calories by 200. Wait a week, maybe 2 weeks, see if your weight increases. If it doesn't, if it's staying steady, keep going. And just keep going until we eventually find the upper limit of how far we can go with your maintenance. And then your weight will slowly start to trend up. It's okay, we're experimenting, we're scientists right now. So once it starts to slowly trend up, we know we've gone too far, drop it by 200-300, that's happy place. That's your maintenance. So next time we need to do a maintenance phase, we can just go straight back there, whatever the calculator gives you, and keep going. Increase until we get to a point where like we found it. Now we've got that in our back pocket, we can go back there whenever we want. Stay there until you're mentally and physically recovered. This is a very important one. Physical recovery. And when we talk about physical recovery, we're talking about glycogen levels and your muscles replenishing, your hormones coming back up to baseline, hunger disappearing, energy levels coming back up, all of these kind of things. You know when you do a deficit in a fat loss phase and you feel like shit? You're physically recovered when you don't feel like shit anymore. That's a nice simple way of thinking about it. That takes about 1 to 2 weeks. Your body's pretty good. Once you've got enough food, actually, who wants me to go on a rant? Me. Who's done a reverse diet before? You know, when you slowly increase your calories back up? I know, yeah. Oh my God. Why? So, the goal of a reverse diet is to slowly increase your calories so you just don't gain any fat. None of those go to fat. What is, that we learned before, what is the defining characteristic of maintenance? All you're doing by reverse dieting is you're slowing the process. You're slowing down how long it takes you to actually recover by slowly getting back to maintenance. Just go straight back to maintenance and you're going to recover quicker, life's going to be good. And you can't put on fat at maintenance. And if you are, it's not maintenance. It's the defining characteristic. of maintenance. That being said, the only time I recommend a reverse diet is if, like, for example, Vic, we're like, hey, eat 2,300, and she's like, my stomach is not big enough. It can't fit it in there. We need to train that. So we'll slowly increase the food, and we'll slowly get the calories up there. That's a great time, but that's not because we're doing it for a reason to not put on fat. It's just like we need to stretch your stomach a bit. We need to get used to eating that much food. So in that case, yeah, cool. But for literally everybody else, unless you suffer from that problem, straight to maintenance, and we can recover in 1 to 2 weeks. But the big thing, the important thing, is the mental recovery side of things. Because when we talk about mental recovery, we talk about like willpower, talk about motivation, these kind of things. Like you want to be in a deficit. You want to be in a fat. Like everybody's kind of reached week 5, 6 of their mini cut, some of you guys, and have just been like, I don't even care anymore. I'll just be fat. I'm sick of it. I just want to eat stuff. Like we've all kind of reached that point. And that's the mental, that's the willpower. Willpower is a resource, it's finite, right? That's why we want to make it as easy as possible so we don't burn it unnecessarily. But the mental recovery can take sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Because you know, when you were in prep, you felt like shit every single day. But because you had the willpower, you had the motivation, you had a set date that I needed to step on stage at this date, you could push through. If you've got this, we don't even really need to be that physically recovered. This is the more important part. Because what kills like a fat loss phase isn't like your metabolism, it's your elbow. Every time the elbow bends, your fucking mouth opens. That's the biggest problem we kind of face. I'll be vulnerable for a second. Did a mini cut, right? And then I stopped losing weight. You know what I did? It's not on the checklist, but you know what I did to break through that plateau? I stopped eating Layla's food, her leftovers. I stopped eating her leftovers after she'd finished food. When I'd like cut her crusts off on a peanut butter sandwich, I stopped eating them. Lo and behold, I started losing fat again. But like that's the biggest thing that's gonna kill us. But like that's the biggest thing that kind of happens. It's not like your metabolism slowing down, all of these like negative adaptations, the mental side of things. If you've got the motivation, you can push through that. If you don't have this, we can't. We will always get the cookie at the back of the shelf. We'll always like eat Layla's peanut butter crusts, like just the ones with a little bit of peanut butter on it, not a monster. This one's the most important one. So if you are physically recovered, but you're not like, I want to do this, I'm in it, I want to do it, then just chill at maintenance. Life's good. Because guess what we learned before? Maintenance doesn't mean you're not losing fat. It's just fast versus slow. Because when you're at maintenance, you are growing muscle and you're replacing your fat for muscle. It's just a slower process. Maintenance is a really cool place to be. And like where Manda is right now, we've kind of come up to these last few kilograms of body fat. And she's like, we had a choice between, do we want to do another mini cut, really go hard, get it off? Or do we want to sit at maintenance and grow a ton of muscle, feel great, and lose fat in the process? And we chose eating more food and eating scones. I know. But like, that's a choice. That's a choice you can make. Maintenance is a really cool place to be. Even if you take like a 4, 5, 6 week maintenance phase, you're still losing fat. It's just a little bit slower. But while we're doing that, we're recovering mentally and physically. And then once we've done that, once you've recovered, you can just go again. But here's the thing, and I know the question you're gonna ask, like, should we slowly go down or should we go back straight down? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just how slow do you wanna go, how fast you wanna go. Me personally, like I said before, big fan of mini cuts. I would rather not spend 6 months of my life in a deficit. I'd rather only do it for like 6 weeks. So if we wanna do a mini cut, just go straight back down to like a decent deficit. I'm not gonna lie. Go back straight down into a deficit, but then you're just losing fat really easy and life's a good time. And then once you hit a plateau, you go through the checklist again. Life's good. Who's been writing notes? It's all useless. You can just scan it. You can scan the QR code. Guess what? Questions. No one has any questions. Perfect. You're all qualified as a coach now. You can pick up your certificate at the back of the room.
I might have a question.
Yes.
How do I word it? When it comes to maintenance, we talked about how long we sit at it, or sit at maintenance for, you know, physically recovered and mentally recovered. When we're asking our coach, what do you think? What expectation do you want to set the room with about what advice your coach gives you? Because realistically, how you feel about maintenance, and you are going through maintenance, what expectation do you want our clients here to know when it comes to asking those kind of questions? Because it is very personal, just like before we asked about the weight loss. Well, I don't know, how much do I have to lose?
Yes.
I get that question a lot, so do you have any advice for that?
It's a Very specific question. Yeah, we can tell you when you're physically recovered. Like we're getting stronger, PB's coming back in the gym, you see a little bump in your steps. We can tell you when you're physically recovered, but we can't tell you when you're mentally recovered. And the only way to tell if you're mentally recovered is if you want to do another deficit. If you're like, I want to do it. So who loves a deload week? Good example. You know at the end of your deload week where you're like, please let me back in the gym. Yeah. You're like, just one bicep curl. If you're like that, you're ready. You're mentally recovered. If you want to do, if you're like, I want to do it, I'm so keen for it, like, let's do it, then you're mentally recovered.
I want to do it.
Willpower is not like, no one has infinite willpower. Like, I've done some pretty tough stuff when I was in the army. Willpower is just a resource. Some people have more of it than others, yes, but it's still a finite resource. The best way to, like, what we need to do is we need to change the environment to make it as easy as possible to not use willpower. Like, for example, if you've got ice cream in the freezer, you have to use willpower every day to not eat it. But guess what? If you just don't buy ice cream, now all of a sudden you're sparing that resource. You don't have this drain of willpower on your body.
Yes, but you've got children that want ice cream. Yeah. You just made it coming. It's coming for you. Wait till later.
Well, tough shit. Do better. But like, we want to make it as easy as possible. Like, for example, if you are a sucker for KFC, if there's a KFC on the drive home from work, you have to use willpower every day to drive past it.
Can I eat that KFC while I'm on maintenance? Just asking for a friend.
I don't want to give anyone permission.
Nando's chips, and then also the McFlurry.
Okay, here's a general rule for you guys.
You were all thinking it.
Here's a general rule whenever, like, let's go McDonald's, right? A McDonald's burger by itself is like 500 calories. Is it the best quality? No, it's McDonald's. You don't expect best quality. But here's the thing, you can fit that in. Even if you're in a deficit, you could probably fit in a KFC Zinger burger. I'm not saying you should, I'm not giving permission, but you could probably fit it into your calories. That small chips on the side is another 500 calories of nothing, of just deadness, of just fat. That's just useless. And guess what? The cool thing about the macro, like dietary fat, your body doesn't have to work very hard to store it because it's already fat. No, like for real. That wasn't even a joke. It's already, your body's just like, thank you, boom, here you go. When it's like protein, your body, like, there's so many uses for protein in your body that it's near impossible to store it as fat. But like with dietary fat, like those extra 500 calories, it's just dead weight. So if in this hypothetical world, you went to KFC and you got a Zinger burger, it doesn't do that much damage. But if you eat the chips, now you've got an extra 600 calories of just dead calories. That is gonna do damage. Use that information as you will. I do not give any recommendation. What I was gonna say is take a different route home so you don't drive past KFC.
Sorry. Yeah, Google Maps takes you straight past all the good shit.
Oh, how dare Google Maps. It's his fault. No.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Can we please give Harry another round of applause?
Yay.